There is a mystery woven into the fabric of creation, a mystery hidden in the scrolls of eternity, a mystery concerning you before you took your first breath, before your heartbeat. For the first time, there was a destiny, not just any destiny, but an appointed destiny, a calling, a path, a mission that heaven ordained and hell fears. But the question is not whether destiny exists. It does. The question is, how do you find it? And deeper still, how do you walk in it? The answer begins not with your strength, not with your plans, not with your ambitions, but with your surrender. For the appointed destiny is not forged by human hands, it is revealed through divine encounter. The prophets didn't find their purpose by chasing their dreams, they found it when God interrupted them. Moses wasn't seeking a mission, he was tending sheep. And then a bush burned. Samuel was a child in the temple when the voice of destiny called his name in the night. Esther didn't seek a throne, but heaven placed her there for such a time as this. So if you want to find your appointed destiny, you must allow your journey to be interrupted. You must let the voice that speaks through burning bushes, through still whispers, through divine timings break into your routine. The destiny of God will never fit in the box of comfort. It comes through disruption. It calls you out of the boat onto the waters. It leads you into the wilderness before it brings you into the promised land. And yet the mystery grows deeper. Your appointed destiny is not only a destination, it's a transformation. It's not just about what you do, it's about who you become. Jacob could not become Israel until he wrestled with God. Saul could not become Paul until he was blinded and broken. You cannot enter your destiny while clinging to your past. The door to your future is guarded by the death of your former self. But do not fear, because what dies in surrender is always resurrected in glory. Your appointed destiny is found not by striving, but by yielding, not by pushing, but by kneeling, not by the clamor of the world, but in the quiet of the secret place. And here lies the paradox. What is hidden will be revealed. What is small will become great. What is overlooked by men is often chosen by God. For he hides the treasures of destiny in earthen vessels, in the lowly, the broken, the repentant. He hides purpose behind obedience, and each step you take in faith, though unseen, moves you closer to the scroll written about you before time began. So seek not greatness, seek holiness. Seek not fame, seek faithfulness. For those who walk in humility will be lifted up, and those who walk in the shadow of his wings will find the light of their calling. And remember this: the enemy cannot steal your destiny, but you can surrender it by choosing the easier path. Do not sell your birthright for a bowl of comfort. Do not trade your crown for the applause of men. Do not bury your talent in the ground of fear. The world may try to define you by your past, but heaven defines you by your purpose, and that purpose is alive. It's calling, it's waiting. But it will not wait forever. The time is short, the hour is late. You were born for this moment. You were called for such a time as this. So rise, child of destiny. Let the fire of heaven consume the distractions of earth. Let the voice of your Creator drown out the lies of the enemy, and let your life become the answer to the question heaven asked when it formed you in the womb. Your appointed destiny is revealed through divine interruption, not human ambition. In the economy of heaven, God often conceals the path until the moment of revelation. It is not found by charting your own course with detailed plans and personal goals, but in allowing the Lord to redirect your steps. Abraham did not wake up one morning with a vision board of the promised land. He heard a voice, a calling, a command to leave everything familiar. He didn't know where he was going, but he followed because destiny was not in his design, it was in his obedience. Divine interruption breaks the monotony of life. It disturbs the comfortable. It flips the ordinary into the extraordinary. When God steps in, your schedule becomes irrelevant, and your strength inadequate. Think of Moses in the wilderness, having accepted a life of obscurity. He had long buried any vision of purpose or greatness. Then suddenly the bush burned, and in that fire, the interruption became the invitation. God doesn't wait for us to be ready in the way we think readiness looks. He meets us in our wilderness moments, in our confusion, in our surrender. The shepherd becomes the deliverer, the fisherman becomes the apostle, the persecutor becomes the preacher. You may have your 5-year plan, your personal dreams, your comfort zones carefully constructed, but when God enters the picture, he rewrites the narrative. You might be walking in one direction with full confidence, only to find yourself turned around by a whisper in the night, or a door that slams shut when you thought it would open. Divine interruption is not chaos, it is the precision of a God who sees beyond time. What seems like a setback may be a redirection. What feels like a loss may be the threshold to your calling. and so many miss their destiny because they resist the interruption. They cling to the safety of their plan and miss the fire that calls them higher. Your destiny is not buried in the blueprint. Self-made success, it is hidden in the moment God breaks and arrests your attention and beckons you to walk where you would never have dared on your own destiny. Requires transformation. Your old self must die for your true calling to rise. The pattern is written throughout Scripture, not just in stories, but in spirit. Before Abram could become Abraham, he had to leave the land of his fathers and step into a covenant identity. Before Jacob could be called Israel, he had to wrestle through the night, limping into purpose with a new name and a broken will. Destiny is not an addition to your life, it is a recreation. It doesn't polish your past, it buries it and raises up something altogether new. God is not interested in modifying the old man. He calls for crucifixion. The shell of who you were cannot carry the weight of what you were called to become. Saul was zealous, trained, and full of fire, but until he was blinded on the road to Damascus, he could not see. His sight had to be taken so that true vision could be given. The things that make sense in the flesh often must be undone in the spirit, and you cannot walk in divine purpose while clinging to carnal identity. The habits, the mind, sets the wound, and the pride of your former self are enemies to the unfolding of your calling. Transformation is costly. It demands surrender, humility, and often pain, but is only through the fire that the dross is burned and the vessel is purified. God takes the clay and breaks it only to shape it again for higher use. He does not leave you in fragments, but reforms you for glory. The moment of transformation is not always a grand event. Sometimes it is a slow breaking, a season of obscurity, a wilderness where everything you thought you were is stripped away until all that remains is your dependence on Him. That is the soil where destiny takes root. Until you have let go of who you think you are, God cannot reveal who He has destined you to be. The greater the calling, the deeper the transformation. The man or woman who has truly been called will bear the scars of surrender, but those scars speak of resurrection, of purpose born not from comfort but from encounter. Your destiny is waiting, but the gate is narrow, and it will not open to the unbroken. Or walking in destiny means surrendering comfort, obeying in faith, and living for heaven's purpose. The path of divine calling is not paved with ease or predictability. It is often the road less traveled, marked by risk, obedience, and moments of trembling trust. The story of destiny in Scripture is not the story of those who played it safe. It is the story of those who stepped out of boats, walked through seas, faced giants, and entered fire. Comfort has never birthed purpose. It has only ever been the enemy of movement. When you choose the will of God, you must be prepared to leave the familiar behind. Abraham left without a map. Peter dropped his net without a second thought. Faith was not a concept, it was a movement, a response, an action in the face of uncertainty. Obedience is the currency of destiny. Heaven does not require your perfection, it requires your yes. The steps may not make sense to others. The call may lead you into places that seem beneath you, beyond you, or dangerous to your own plans. But the divine purpose is not governed by your comfort. It is shaped by your alignment with the heart of God. The cost of obedience may be the applause of men, the security of your plans, or the timing you thought was best. But what you lose in the natural, you gain in the eternal. To walk in destiny is to fix your eyes on the unseen, to weigh decisions not by how they feel, but by what heaven is saying. It means you live not for your name, but for His. You no longer measure success by position or possessions, but by faithfulness. You do not ask, is this easy, but is this right? Those who walk in divine destiny often feel out of step with the world because their rhythm is set by another realm. They are misunderstood, sometimes rejected, but they are marked by fire, by vision, by a burden that will not let them go. They have seen something greater. They have heard a voice calling them higher, and that voice will not be silenced by storms nor drowned by fear. Their journey is not defined by the absence of trial, but by the presence of purpose in every step they take. Your appointed destiny is not a dream, it is a summons answer.